Today, we're going to look at two ladies who are saving for retirement, Normal Nellie and Catch-Up Kathy. Each is 50 years old, earns the same salary, and has the same amount saved. Unfortunately, through no fault of their own, both Nellie and Kathy are a little behind on their retirement savings. Because catch-up contributions become available at age 50, Catch-Up Kathy decides that she'll reduce her living expenses a little and take full advantage of this savings opportunity between now and retirement at age 65. Normal Nellie, however, decides that she'll skip the catch-up contributions while otherwise maxing out her 401k. Instead of reducing her living expenses now, she'll simply lower them when she retires at 65. So, who will have the best shot at retirement? Let's find out. The Economic Growth and Tax Relief Reconciliation Act of 2001, that's a mouthful, isn't it, included a provision that allowed for workers 50 and older to contribute more toward their qualified retirement plans. These increased limits are what we all call catch-up contributions. Now, catch-up contributions make total sense. Older workers tend to earn more as they've advanced in their careers, giving them more ability to save for retirement. Additionally, there's a likelihood that their children have left the nest or will soon, allowing over 50 workers to shift those expenditures into their retirement savings. For 2022, workers age 50 and older can save an additional $6,500 per year in their 401k, 403b, or 457 plan. Not to be ignored, IRA accounts have a catch-up contribution available as well. For 2022, their catch-up limit is $1,000 per year. Finally, the ever-versatile HSA plan has a $1,000 catch-up contribution available too. So how much of a difference will these types of catch-up savings make? Let's look at our example. For simplicity and consistency, we'll again use the same assumptions we've made in prior videos for all our calculations. Inflation will be 3% and our expected portfolio returns will be 7%. Again, these assumptions are round numbers close enough to historical data for the purposes of our comparison. For income, we'll assume they each make $120,000 per year. To estimate their Social Security, we'll simply input Nellie's and Kathy's income into the Social Security Quick Online Calculator to arrive at a monthly benefit. For simplicity, we'll also assume they're both single. For retirement portfolio income, we'll once again use the 4% rule. Of course, there are some limits to the 4% rule, but it's great for these kinds of back-of-the-envelope calculations. For Nellie, we assume that she skips the catch-up contributions, but otherwise maxes out her 401k at $20,500 this year. For Kathy, we assume she fully maxes out her 401k, including catch-up contributions. Given the current catch-up limit of $6,500, her total savings would be $27,000. After we calculate and pay taxes, let's assume each spends what's left. For Normal Nellie, her monthly spending comes out to around $6,700 per month. Since Catch-Up Kathy is saving more, she'll obviously spend less than Nellie. However, since her catch-up contributions are pre-tax, she'll also pay less in taxes. Her spending comes out to around $6,300 per month. That's $4,800 less spending per year than Normal Nellie, or around $400 per month. To determine what Nellie and Kathy can spend in retirement, let's make some assumptions about what they have saved. Again, we're going to assume that they're a little behind on their retirement savings. Life can be hard sometimes, so let's not fault them for that. Let's say that they have $25,000 in cash accounts, $75,000 in stocks and mutual funds, $250,000 in retirement accounts, bringing their total investments to $350,000. If Nellie and Kathy plan to retire in 15 years, how much will they have saved at that point? Given their current investments, we can make a simple calculation based upon their savings and projected growth. Let's not forget to add an employer match on their 401k contributions, since that's common in the real world. For our example today, let's assume their employer matches 100% up until a contribution of 3% of salary. Given these assumptions, we expect Normal Nellie to have around $1.57 million saved at retirement, while Catch-Up Kathy will have $1.74 million. By the way, if you want to run these calculations for your situation, I've created an inexpensive downloadable spreadsheet that you can find at pranawealth.com/resources. You can even adjust your savings levels just like we're discussing today. Now that we know what Nellie and Kathy will have saved at retirement, let's determine what kind of retirement income they can expect. For normal Nellie, we know she'll have around $1.57 million saved. Using the 4% rule, we can expect her investments to provide approximately $5,200 per month in retirement income. Adding in her Social Security brings her total monthly retirement income to around $9,200 per month. Of course, these numbers are inflated. To make a fair comparison, we'll have to adjust them back to today's dollars. Using our inflation rate of 3%, we find that equates to a retirement income figure of around $5,900 per month for normal Nellie. When we compare that to her pre-retirement expenses, we find that she'll need to reduce her living expenses by about 10% when she steps away from work to have a sustainable retirement. So what about Catch-Up Kathy? She's already reduced her living expenses to save more for retirement. Knowing that she'll have approximately $1.74 million saved at age 65, we can expect her portfolio to provide around $5,800 per month at that time. Adding her Social Security will give her around $9,750 per month in living expenses. Adjusting for inflation, we find that Kathy's retirement income in today's dollars comes out to approximately $6,300 per month, almost exactly what she's spending today. Since we've made our calculations based upon what they'll have available at retirement, we know that both Nellie and Kathy can make retirement work. However, the 4% rule does have limitations. If we run a Monte Carlo analysis for normal Nellie and Catch-Up Kathy using this data, we find that they have very high probabilities of retirement success, 93% and 94% respectively. Of course, these numbers don't factor in one-time expenses like home improvement, car purchases, nursing home costs, or changes in their retirement spending as they age. In our simplified comparison, we find that each retiree ends up in a similar place using different means. So the question becomes, do you reduce your living expenses before retirement or after? Again, we find ourselves discussing retirement income replacement ratios. It's a common practice in financial planning to reduce living expenses by 20% in retirement. It's a great place to start for those who have not otherwise spent time budgeting. Indeed, many retirees will spend much less than 80% of their pre-retirement living expenses when they finally stop working. However, in my experience, plenty of retirees do not see a significant drop in living expenses, especially in the first several years. During this time, travel and new hobbies can expand parts of the budget while others may contract after leaving the workforce. So does this mean that you should skip the catch-up contributions? Absolutely not. If you have room in your budget, I highly recommend it, especially for those people in a higher marginal tax bracket. All else being equal, why not save more now and have more options later? If you're retiring this year, I highly recommend that you watch this video that lays out 8 steps that you should take to prepare. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.